right. Hello. Welcome to my podcast. I am here with my first guest, my wife, Kayla. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
You normally interview people, but today, I'm going to interview you.
That is true. Sometimes other people interview me as well.
Yeah, I know. That's true. Okay, so I'm going to ask you questions, and if you don't like any answers, we will not put it in.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
So we're here in our studio in LA. It is how many months since we got married? 8. 8 months, and it was really quick. So you are one of the very unique people in the world that matched with, or that went on a date with one person from online, and that was it.
Yes.
Tell me how that happened. That seems crazy. Most people in the world do not do that. They match with people, they go on a lot of dates, and they can't find anyone. So what did you do differently?
Well, first of all, you told me not to tell people this because it was unrelatable. So I guess you're wanting me to tell people, though.
Well, maybe we can make it relatable.
Probably not. But I mean, I only was on one dating app ever, so that immediately eliminated a lot of the, I guess,
It's kind of a networking app.
prospects or dates. I don't know. I was only on one. And I was really only on that app anyway because I knew one of the founders like years ago, or I think he was the founder, and he's like, hey, be on this app. So I said, okay. It was called Raya. There were only like 3 people in all of Ohio on Raya, all of whom I knew. It was like me and like basically 2 athletes or something.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously definitely not there, but I already knew that anyway. Yeah. And I've just been super busy. I wasn't looking, I had a lot of pretty big lofty goals for myself. I wanted to make sure that I achieved very specific things in my life before really being in a place to get married, because I'm very type A. I love to like pour myself into anything I'm doing. And, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17 years old, and I had started, co-started Live, and I needed to get it to a place that it was operable without me, and that I felt good about before I really was going to then allocate attention. I mean, I was working like, 60 plus hour weeks.
Okay, so were you not prioritizing dating before we met then as much, or what changed?
No, I wasn't prioritizing dating at all.
Got it. So did you get married accidentally, or what happened?
No, I mean, I've always known I wanted to be married, but I also didn't, I didn't want to go into a marriage thinking like, oh, I wish I could have done this X thing, right? Like, I wanted to do what I felt like I needed to do before really getting super intentional, which is everything just, it all happened for a reason. Probably 3 months before I met you, I, really started praying about I'm ready to find my husband. I knew I always wanted to find a man just like you. Definitely, they're not just randomly around. So obviously God brought us together at the right time, but it was also when I had really done everything I wanted to do prior to getting married. Because now, you know how much I love being being a great wife. Everything else I've done in my life, from like building socials to businesses to like all the things. I wrote a book and I started a podcast. I did so many things before meeting you that I wanted to do. And I really put my all into those things. And now I want to put my all into being a wife and being a mother. So yeah, I wasn't prioritizing, I wasn't really prioritizing dating at all. And I met you, and you were so intentional with your questions and pursuing me. And just from the first second I met you, it was right.
Well, and now we get to do those things together. So is that something that you would recommend to other women to do ABC before you get married? Or do you think that, let's say if they're 21 or 22 and they found someone that they want to marry, like, because that's a whole other route, right? We got married in our 30s. We knew exactly what we wanted. And that's not the case for a lot of people that might, be in college right now and want to get married, or early 20s. Because the world will say, wait, do all those things, and then and then you date around, date all the people, and then you'll know better about how to pick someone. What do you have to say to someone that's hearing that from their friends or their parents? Do you think that's good advice, or do you think that's
No, I mean, if I would have met you in my 20s, I mean, I think we would have gotten married then, but I mean, we just didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't even like, I was very not even visible, I guess, because I was so busy literally just working.
Aw,
I
you're invisible.
I mean, yeah.
Well, you were in Ohio and I was in California, so that was hurdle number one.
Yeah, but I also wasn't even doing things to like meet people like at all. You know, I was literally I've already explained this, and you know, my mom's told you this, and business partners of mine. So, you know, I was literally just like, I was just focused on working. That's how I thought what you had to do to become successful was like put your all, keep a very singular focus. But number one, not everybody has such ambitious goals. Number two, I think there's just a feeling, and like with you, you were the only person I've ever met in my whole life that I immediately felt like I could follow and that I could submit to. So if I had met you when I was in my early 20s, I think we would have gotten married then. I'm definitely not advocating for waiting until you are in your 30s to get married. I mean, but we both revere marriage, and I always knew my whole life that I was going to get married once, and it had to be the most like perfect, ideal person for myself. And I hadn't come into contact with that person so far.
I love that.
But what about you? I mean, you were 36. Everyone in your life said that you really wanted to get married. So,
No, I mean, I'm excited to talk about our story because we got engaged 3 months after we met. We got married 2 or 3 months right after that, thanks to you for planning it. And it's a very different story because we were in our 30s. We knew exactly what we wanted. And from there, we moved quickly. And that's not everyone's story. I'm glad that's our story. I think I knew what I was looking for, and you also knew. But the biggest piece of advice I think that I ever heard was from Pastor Jonathan Pokluda, who said that we need to be the person who we're looking for is looking for, right? So if the person you're looking for is X, but X isn't going to be attracted to you, then there's a big disconnect, right? So I'm excited because you were doing all these things leading up to when we met to show me your character and what your values were. And I was also doing that too in a different state. And that's one of the reasons we were able to move so quickly, is because we had been building this foundation for years post, high school and college. And I think that's like something a lot of people don't really think about. They think about what they want. What do I want? What's going to fulfill me? What's going to make me happy? And that's what all these rom-coms and movies will tell us, and social media. But at the end of the day, like, the way we view marriage is so different from the rest of the world, because our faith is really important to us, right? We believe in God. And that basically flows down through our worldview and how we view family and marriage. So we're coming at this from a very different point of view, whereas it's not, oh, is Kayla making me feel happy today? Like, that's so selfish. That's why so many people get divorced. It's because, oh, I fell out of love with them, or, oh, they're not doing enough for me. Whereas really it's like, no, how can I lay down my life for my wife, for her? And how can I put my needs to the side and protect her and provide for her? If more men thought like that, it'd be a lot easier for women to want to submit to someone like that is going to love them, that they can trust. And it's tough because a lot of men today aren't in that headspace at all. A lot of men today are addicted to porn, and they're sleeping around, and they have no incentive from society or their families or their friends to get serious about their life. But I think our story is so crazy because it was so quick, and I think people were excited for us because they knew the desire of I think people were so excited for us because they knew the desires of my heart. Your family, your friends knew that you wanted to get married. So it was really a special wedding. It was in a gorgeous building in Cleveland. A lot of our friends that came probably didn't even know the whole story, which is why I'm glad we're doing this podcast, because I want to explain it and talk about it. But the timeline was crazy because we matched. Do you remember the timeline of our dating and engagement, or should I go through it?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I remember it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're better with dates and like specifics than I am. But
yeah,
we matched on May 6th, right?
Yeah. So we matched last May, and what happened when we matched?
I sent you a message that just said hi, I think.
Yeah, it said hi. can't remember if there was an exclamation mark or not.
Probably not.
I think it was just hi.
Yeah, literally.
And then what did I say?
And then you wrote back, I think the next day,
Yep.
and asked like 3 questions. Like, are you a Christian? Do you want kids? And then maybe just 2.
Yeah, it was something like, wow, you're a catch. Like, hello,
Oh, yeah.
you're a catch. Are you a Christian and do you want kids? And that's where I was at in my life. I was like, not going to play games. The 2 biggest things for me is, do we share faith and do we want the same for our future? You then said yes and yes, basically. And then I said, what's our number? I want to FaceTime you. So it's probably the most efficient, quickest, text ever that led to a marriage potentially. But you texted me, I texted you or whatnot. I called you like a day or 2 later. And then I went out to Cleveland to visit you, right? And then 3 months from when we matched is when we got engaged, or 3 months from when we matched is when I proposed. So I went out to Cleveland to see you. And from then on, every 2 weeks, we saw each other for 3 months. So it was like 6 weekends. And it basically was, I kissed you. Then we had a big interview session and dates where we were asking questions. Then I think I said, will you be my girlfriend? Then I said, I love you. And on the 6th weekend is when I proposed in Austin. So those 3 months were like quick, ramped up. We knew what we wanted. And then from the engagement, let's talk about that. So we go to Austin, Texas, and let me hear your point of view, and then I'll do my story.
Why?
Were you expecting it when I proposed?
No, I was not.
Good. So I got you
Very
surprised.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the point of us going to Austin was just because we liked it, and we just were meeting somewhere else.
Yeah, we went to Austin to look around, have a good weekend. You have some work friends there. I had a couple of friends there, but also we've thought about living there. But it was 106 degrees, and it was Zilker Park. And I had to make up a lie, which I feel a little bad about, but not really, because it was for the greater good. But it was Friday night, and I knew I was going to propose. I on my way to LAX with the ring in my pocket, and I knew that night I was going to propose to you. I was hoping you didn't have any idea, which you didn't. But we get to Austin, it's 4 p.m. or whatnot, we land, we're at the airport, and our car was taking forever to get to us. You remember that at Hertz?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
That was so annoying.
it was like 100 degrees. There's no AC in the Hertz thing. We're waiting at Austin Airport. We finally get our car, and then we drive to that house, which was great. That was an awesome house. Thank you, Michael. Is that his name? Yep. Thank you, Michael. And we get to the house. Our bags are not unpacked yet. We go in the house, and then I tell you and say, hey, we have a dinner reservation at 7. But there's an Erewhon kind of grocery store opening up like right next to this place. So let's get there. Let's try to get there at like 6 to look at it because it closes.
Basically, though, I understood it to be there was an actual Erewhon opening that somehow was not disclosed on the map.
Yeah.
You said there was a new Erewhon, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So, A, I didn't know that there was any Erewhons in Austin, but I just trusted you. B, I thought it was very odd that they weren't on the map.
Yeah. So 3 months after we matched, we're going to Austin. 3 months after we matched, we're going to Austin. I know I'm going to propose to you that Friday night. I'm in an Uber on the way to LAX with a ring in my pocket. You don't have any idea. We get to Austin. The rental car takes like 45 minutes. We finally get to the house we're staying at 4 p.m. And I had a dinner reservation for us at 7 at our favorite place, Daidu.
Yeah, something like that.
And my plan is to take you to a park and propose to you, then have some buffer time to call up some people, and then go to dinner. So I'm like, okay, we have 7 o'clock reservation. How do I get her to have some buffer time? So I make up a little lie, and I say there's an Erewhon opening up right by this restaurant, which was totally BS because Erewhon is only in California. It wasn't online, but thankfully you went along with it and said, oh, okay, sure. You look on your phone and we're like, wait, where is it? What is it? And I'm like, oh, it's so new, it's not even on Google yet. Yeah. And you're like, okay. So we get in the car, and as we're about to get in the car, you're asking me what you should wear. And I'm thinking, it is 106 degrees out here. I know you probably are going to want a good picture to look good, you know, when I propose, but I have no idea because it's so hot. So you were wearing jeans and I'm like, hey, like, let's just go to the park for 10 minutes on a walk and then we'll go to, you know, the Erewhon and then we'll go to dinner. So I think you end up wearing the pants because I said, just wear the pants. Because I knew you would prefer the pictures with, you know, not in like whatever. So we go to the park. It is 106 or 107. And we get out of the car and go for a walk. And at this point, I didn't know like where I was going to park. I knew from my friends the park and all the different pockets of it, but I had never been to Austin or this park. So I was like, okay, I need to figure this out quickly. And I was praying about it a lot, and I had peace. I knew I was going to like pull in and figure out where to park. So I go to this one section, park, we get out. And as soon as we start walking, I'm like, okay, I do not have a lot of time because it is so hot. She's going to be like, what are we doing in this park? So after, I think, like 4 minutes of walking, I basically, when you were looking the other way, I held your hand and started to get down on one knee. You turned to the side and you were like, and then what happened?
Well, I mean, you had a little speech. It was so sweet.
I was so nervous.
I know, you said that. Yeah, it was so sweet. Well, first you put down your camera and we were recording it. There was like this little twig in front, which was...
I brought a water bottle to prop up the phone.
Yeah, that was also suspicious because you were like, I wanted to have a sip of the water because it's like 110 degrees. You are sweating basically as soon as you get out of the car because it's so hot in Austin. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have a sip of water. And you're like, yeah, but don't drink too much. I'm like, okay. But you wanted the water bottle to be full to support the camera or the phone. So yeah, you set up the camera and then, well, first you got down on one knee, then you put on the camera, right? And then you gave me a little speech that was so sweet and thought out, even though you said you did forget some of it, right?
Yeah, there were some parts I missed. I was on the plane there, like trying to memorize it and go through the points because I already had it like written. And I'm a big writer and I like to process through like, you know, writing and being structured. But we got to the park, I proposed, and we have the video, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we now have half an hour before dinner. So we drive to the restaurant. And on the way to the restaurant, you asked me.
We forgot a part though. Remember, I said yes.
Oh, yes.
You forgot the ring. Well, you forgot to give me.
No, I didn't forget the ring. I forgot to show you the ring when I proposed. So I said, blah, 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 like probably, I don't know, 8 minutes or whatever, maybe 5 minutes. And then I said, will you marry me? But I didn't have the ring like this. I had the ring still in my pocket and I was just holding your hand. And I said, will you marry me? Which is a fun story because you said yes before, you know, like obviously seeing the ring. And then I was like, oh, I don't. So then I got it, the ring, showed it to you. And then we went and got in the car and you asked me about Erewhon. You're like, so are we going to Erewhon? No, there's no Erewhon.
Okay, that's funny. I didn't remember that part.
Yeah.
I was like so excited.
Well, and then we get to the restaurant. We're in the parking lot and you want to call your mom.
Yeah, but the service was not well, I believe, because the video is so funny because it's like the biggest moment in my life so far. And I'm trying to show my mom the ring. And I'm like holding up my hand in front of the video and she can't see it. Mm-hmm. And she's like, what's going on? I can't see. It's like, I was like, Mom, please get on Wi-Fi. And she, you know, was like putzing around.
Yeah.
Taking like 5 minutes to get on Wi-Fi to be able to show her.
And was it Gunnar or who's in the background?
Colton was in the background.
Yeah.
And then my mom starts crying. And then Colton's confused as to why my mom is crying. And she was so happy and so excited. And come to find out, my mom actually knew. So my mom and I mean, we were speaking every day on the phone. Mm-hmm. And she's also like maybe the worst at keeping secrets.
Yeah.
So I was shocked that she didn't tell me. Yeah, I was very shocked that she kept that secret, but I heard that you really let her know.
Yeah, so your mom and I had a few conversations before I got the ring and leading up to that. And I basically made it so clear. I was like, Kim, this is a big deal. I asked you if you think that she would prefer to be surprised or not. You said you think she'd prefer to be surprised. I need you to not give up this secret because I know you guys talk every day. I know you're probably really excited for her, hopefully, because you're a good mom. But you cannot talk to her. You cannot do that. And then I went a step further and I said, Kim, if I ask your daughter to get married, and we do, but I know that you gave up the secret. It's going to impact our relationship the rest of our lives because I'm going to know that you didn't keep the secret. So I probably scared her into thinking like, I can't do anything, which good because I wanted it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
And now I can definitely continue to trust your mom. She kept the secret.
I was shocked by that.
Yeah, because I think you were thinking I might propose at my family vacation like a month after that.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that.
Yeah. I think proposing in Austin was the right move because it was sooner. We knew that we both wanted it. And it was also a neutral ground. It wasn't LA with just my family. It wasn't Ohio with none of my friends. So it was like a neutral ground. And yeah. Okay, so we match online. We get married 3 months later, beginning of August in Austin. Super hot. It was a great engagement. Then we get to the airport after that trip, and what happens? What do you do? We're at the airport going back to...
I know, but I was obviously crying because I was sad.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about how you start planning the wedding at the airport.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, let me ask about this vendor and who's going to do the food. And I'm like, wow, when are we going to do this? Because we're like, okay, it's the beginning of August. We end up getting married end of September.
Yeah.
So
we did technically talk about it when we got back.
Yeah, but you were literally texting people planning it at the airport, which I thought was so cute and says a lot about how you're like a doer.
Yeah.
You're not like gonna, what's it called, muck around. You're not mucking around.
Yeah, exactly.
So we get married, and that was basically 5 months from matching online, and we're married. We have a place in LA. We have a place in Cleveland, and let's talk about that. We say we, but it was your place in Cleveland and it was my place in LA. So why do you think I'm always saying we and you're always saying we? Because people probably think that's weird.
That's interesting. Doesn't seem weird to me, but because we are one, and so what's mine is yours, and vice versa.
Yep.
So obviously, it was both of our places.
Yeah. Okay. This obviously might not make the podcast, so if we don't like it, we won't do it.
Oh boy.
But tell me how uniquely Taylor Swift plays into our relationship.
Okay, first of all, she doesn't. That's one thing.
Okay. That's true.
Yeah. There's that.
The topic of Taylor
Well,
Swift.
I guess two things that come to my mind. First, one thing when we were dating and, you were just all things like masculine, healthy, all the things I was looking for, love the Lord. But then like right before coming to visit me in Cleveland,
For the first time.
Yeah, you posted like 30 stories at a Taylor Swift concert. And I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Ironically, I was posting them ironically. I got front row tickets with my best friend from college, Billy Pulte, and we listened to Taylor Swift in college all the time. Mm-hmm. I was actually going to New York with my sister to see Broadway shows, and then last minute I go to Chicago for a day on Friday. I see Taylor Swift, then New York, then I see you on Monday.
Right, but as like a
Taylor
Swift person.
Swiftie, it's called Swiftie.
Yeah. I felt like that was interesting. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was probably a turnoff.
Yes.
So that was weird. And what was the other thing?
Well, then
We're married.
we're married. Yeah. Warren and I, we have very different styles of like what we keep and what we don't. I'm very minimalist. Warren's more of like a maximalist and like has emotional connections to like items and things and wants to keep them. So we were going through your closet. There's probably stuff that you haven't worn for like years in there, but you wanted to keep them at that point. So we find a shirt with Taylor Swift's face on it. And I'm like, okay, my husband's not going to wear a shirt with another woman's face on it. That doesn't even make sense. So that was a whole thing.
But I threw it away.
You did throw it away, yes. But I mean, I would be happy to get you a shirt with my face on it if you feel the need to wear a shirt with a woman's face on it.
I don't feel the need to wear that. That makes it sound so bad. No, I don't need a shirt with a woman's face on it. It was the shirt I got with Billy at that concert. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I'm also like, I'm not frugal, but I'm not frugal. So in my head, I'm like, okay, this was, probably too much money to buy. It was stupid. I just wanted the memory. and then didn't realize I'd be married so quickly, and that it'd be kind of weird to be wearing, a female. In my mind, Taylor Swift is like, it's in my mind, it's like if you like John Mayer or the Beatles. If you're wearing the Beatles, 4 Beatles on your shirt, I don't care.
But we both know I wouldn't do that.
I know. You're right.
I'm never going to be caught with anyone on my shirt.
Well, you don't wear patterns or anything other than colors, or monochromatic. Yes, and even not you're just black and white basically, or gray like that.
Black, white, gray, navy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's that.
I want to talk about health, specifically food and snacking. I am more of a snacker. You are not. Mm-hmm. What is your general, overarching thoughts on snacking?
So ideally, we want to keep our blood sugar stable throughout the day.
Yeah.
And that is essentially when you consume food, you have a blood sugar response. And that can lead to brain fog and, over a long period of time, if you continue doing that and you're overweight, etc., can lead to insulin resistance, which we know only about 6% of Americans are metabolically healthy. So for me, snacking is a no.
All of it?
Yeah, I don't snack. When I met you, as you know, I had an extremely disciplined life. I've relaxed a little bit because you'll learn if you're listening to this and you're not married, you do relax a bit. But yeah, I was extremely regimented. I ate 2 meals a day at the same time every day, the same meal every day at the same place. And you like variety and you like snacks, all of which were very new to me.
Wow, someone who likes snacks.
Yeah.
So how am I doing today?
You're doing fairly well. Well, I mean, in general, you eat super healthy now. I believe before we started dating and got married, you had some more flexibility, like you were eating some things that had glyphosate, like Chipotle.
Yeah, my tests were really bad, or I was high on glyphosate like crazy, which was probably from the Chipotle. So even if you're eating healthy, you can go into a place like Chipotle and you think you're eating healthy, man, there's glyphosate in everything, which I didn't realize till I met you. So you saved me.
Aw, I know. Well, I mean, it's such a love language for me, health optimization. Watching you and helping you be healthier is, one of my top priorities.
So what about testosterone? My testosterone levels got a lot better when I started living life with you. So what did we do? Talk to me about testosterone.
Well, first, I want to say thank you because you, pretty early on, I don't even recall how many conversations it was in, but we both knew we wanted to have babies. And if you're listening to this and you're on testosterone, your sperm count can go to 0 within 6 months of being on testosterone. So I had kindly asked you to get off testosterone. You were just on a tiny dose, right?
Half of the lowest amount. And I was on 5 or 6 months.
Yeah. So you got off of it. And yeah, we really helped optimize your testosterone through lifestyle. Well, first of all, early on, I asked for your labs, which you so graciously sent because I wanted to, understand your health status. Health is such a massive part. It's not only my professional pursuits, it's my personal passion. It's a huge, massive part of my life. So I wanted to make sure that, you were also interested in health and I wanted to see your labs. So you sent them. They were pretty good. And then I sent you a bunch of other additional labs. I sent you a total tox burden, which combines mold testing, environmental toxins, glyphosate, heavy metals, and so much more. You took that. I think we did a gut test pretty early on, and I got all the results back. And so then I could just help you to optimize. So you got off the testosterone. We helped you detox. So really, your body wants to be able to have optimal testosterone, but you have to remove the toxins. You have to, maintain a great workout. We changed your diet a bit. I started making all of our meals, which were all organic, so we weren't getting a toxin exposure from that. We incorporated sauna, which helped detox.
Yeah.
And basically, we were able to boost your levels from about, let's say, if you were at 700 on testosterone, right? Then it dipped down to about 550 or something when we got you off the testosterone, which is normal decline. And then now you're at 916. So it's the very top of the range. And I'm obviously super proud of doing that.
Okay, so how did that happen?
Detoxification. So sauna, reducing toxins, went through all of your personal care products, things like that. We got rid of a lot of stuff, even things like candles and things in the home. So toxic exposure can definitely reduce testosterone levels. So we got rid of all the toxins, did the sauna to detox. You maintained working out, which was really helpful. We did a peptide CJC, 1295 for a little bit. That could have helped a little bit, but it's most certainly not going to take you from 5 or even 700 up to 900. So it was a lot of lifestyle factors. Eating organic, so reducing toxins there. You were doing cold exposure, and you really started to optimize your sleep. So you were eating pretty late and going to bed pretty late. So not only were you going to bed late, but then eating right before bed, that was reducing the quality of your sleep overall. So when we got engaged, I think on the plane ride home, I got you an Oura Ring and sent that over. And then we've been sharing data, but the sleep is a huge part too, like getting super high quality sleep, going to bed early enough to get the benefit of all that growth hormone release and melatonin and hormones that actually help to increase testosterone. We go to bed by 9:30 now. So it's really a combination. So improving sleep quality, bedtime, detoxing, reducing toxic burden, some nutritional changes, and then you obviously maintained your workout regimen, which was important, and cold therapy. So all of that contributed to where your testosterone levels are now.
Yeah. So if you're a dude listening to this and you want to increase your testosterone without taking it, would you say that it is 1, toxic burden test to figure out how to get rid of toxins, 2 is working out, and 3 is healthy sleep habits?
I would say sleep is first. Working out, doing hard things raises men's testosterone. So that's really important. The reason why testosterone levels now for like 20-year-olds are that of like 70, 80-year-olds like 50 years ago. So
because of all the endocrine disruptors.
And the toxins, the plastics, and also the literal lack of doing anything. So people aren't moving their bodies. We know that people are sedentary, they're overweight. Being in an unhealthy weight is also going to reduce your testosterone levels. So, you were already fit, you were already working out, you were doing things that were good for you. And then it was my job to come in and help you reduce the toxic burden, improve the sleep. And it wasn't like we did anything crazy. It's just, being consistent.
Yeah.
And it works.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
How do you think wives or girlfriends can help their men in their health?
Well, we're in a really unique and exciting position because if the relationship is how ours is, which is quite traditional, right? So I am making all of the meals. So I have an opportunity every single meal to either improve or like reduce the quality of our health, right? So every meal is organic. It has a good balance of like all protein and healthy fats. So first of all, wives can just order healthier groceries. I'll order like a snack as you request from time to time, but also, I try to make sure it's always a very healthy snack. But in general,
It's all organic snacks.
It's all organic snacks, yeah. But we are making meals for the most part, and we're probably doing the grocery ordering. So, just order organic food, healthy food. That's a really simple way. And encourage your husband, to go to sleep earlier. So I've tried to really educate you and explain to you why it's so important to stop eating at an earlier time, and then why we need to go to bed earlier. And because I think you really wanted to know why, and now you see the benefits, I think it's super helpful. So encouraging your husbands to go to bed earlier, and then also just helping buy high quality products. So, even like, you had some really high end colognes and things like that when we met, but that doesn't equal healthy and doesn't mean that they are good for your body. And our skin is our largest organ. So we certainly want to look at what's in the product. So I always encourage everyone to go to the environmental working group and look up products, and it'll tell you their toxicity level. It'll tell you the ingredients that are toxic and why, and then opt for better options. So now like I choose what skincare you're using or what lotion you're using. And, I kind of help out with like some healthier fragrances, and that's going to reduce your toxic burden as a whole. In addition to our home just being healthier, like our mattress is organic, our sheets are organic, clothing is organic. We're moving in the direction of getting more clothing up for you that's organic. We changed out your boxers super early to organic, and even EMF blocking boxers, I think. So just when you're making purchases, I have the opportunity as your wife to choose healthier options for both of us.
And what's that app? It's like Seed Oil Scout. Is that what it's called?
There's an app, Acid Oil Scout. That's essentially like when we're traveling, we look at restaurants or places to go and eat
Yeah.
if we're gonna eat out. Seed Oil Scout is pretty great.
And then there's the Aura Ring, the physical ring, and then the app. What are like the top 2 measurements on the Aura Ring app that you think people should care about? Probably HRV.
Yeah, HRV, which is heart rate variability. So that's actually the time in between heartbeats. So if you think about your heart beating really fast, the time is going to be smaller versus if you are in great cardiovascular shape and your stress is pretty low, your heartbeat is going to be slower, leaving more time in between. So higher HRV is good. And not everyone's going to have a super high HRV, but also the variation is important. So if you are at 30 one day and then 12 the next day. And then, first of all, higher is better, but also you want to keep a consistent variation for HRV. So I think HRV is really important. I love looking at the steps because I think walks are such a big part of our relationship. We live in this beautiful home in the hills and we get to do zone 2 cardio. We go on a walk every night after dinner. So I love looking at the steps because we know that there's tons of data around getting at least, 10,000 steps a day. So I love looking at that. There's some new interesting features like, the cardiovascular age. And then the other thing that we use the Oura Ring, it's mostly me using it, but I have the connection with Natural Cycles, which you're also on the app. So you basically are able to check where I'm at in my cycle at any given time. So we're going to get ready and start a family soon. So we'll be switching from the pregnancy prevention stage of the app to the conception stage, which I think we're both
Which you're super excited about.
We're both so excited about.
I know I am, but you can't wait to flip it so that the app is like helping you try to get pregnant and the days aren't like bad days. The days are like good days.
I know. Well, we've already discussed this, but 5 days before my ovulation and then obviously the day of. But yeah, I can't wait. So there's so many amazing things about the Oura Ring. But to be honest with you, it's also helpful to think about it from a standpoint of looking at data. So if I see that you had a horrible night's sleep last night, or you see that I had a horrible night's sleep, or our HRV is super low, or HRV is low, and I have a menstrual cycle coming up, it also can help us even love each other better. This is something that we can continue to dive into, knowing where each other is at, mentally and physically that day.
So what's one thing in the house right now or kitchen that you would want to get rid of? Is there any snack I have? Popcorn?
Yeah. Well, you ordered some super weird coconut things. What is it? Coconut wraps, rolls, something?
Coconut crisps or something.
Yeah.
No, I know. That was an experiment that did not work out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the popcorn is what you'd get rid of out of everything. Mm-hmm. What is so bad about organic popcorn?
Well, it's not necessarily that it's so bad. It's just there's no nutritional value. So every single piece of food that I eat, every piece of food I eat that I make for you is super nutrient dense. There's a reason for it. And it's making our bodies stronger, healthier, better. So from a popcorn standpoint, there's just really no nutritional value there.
Got it. So it's not that the popcorn is bad, it's that it doesn't offer anything like additive or like a plus to my life.
I'm sure if I did a little bit more research, I could also tell you why it's bad.
You haven't researched popcorn yet?
No, I don't eat popcorn, so I don't even
I know.
spend time researching it. But yeah, also like traditional popcorn also is sprayed with like tons of glyphosate because it's corn. But this is organic, so there's just really no benefit to popcorn.
So all the people at movie theaters that are eating popcorn, they're getting a lot of glyphosate probably from that?
Oh, and then I think it's like fake butter that they're putting on that like liquid stuff. Yeah. That's like so far, as you know, I'm very black and white when it comes to it's either great and optimal or it's horrible and I don't need it.
All right. So tell me about Bob, and do you love him or not?
Oh my goodness. Bob is the vacuum.
The remote vacuum.
Warren named him.
He does a great job. He tries really hard.
Warren has had this vacuum. It's one of those robot vacuums. I don't know. How long have you had the vacuum?
A couple of years.
Okay, a couple of years. Well, it's an outdated model. Oftentimes, it's kind of just like working in circles in the same spot. Unfortunately, I don't think it's great because I can actually use the Dyson and do it way faster and more efficiently. And then there's like nothing on the floor.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's you doing work. Bob works so we don't have to.
Yeah, but Bob is more stressful than anything because every 5 minutes it's like error 10 filter needs to be cleaned. If filter is not wet, it's like a whole thing. And then you have to check on it and then you're stressed because if the door is open, Bob could get out and be lost like that one time.
Yeah, you lost Bob one time.
Well, first he was in the closet and he actually wasn't lost. He lost himself, but I was looking all over. I had to see if he fell down the stairs. I had to see if he went into the water in the front. He was nowhere to be found, and he did not go back to his home. He's never one time gone back to his home, actually.
Yeah, he runs out of battery because he tries so hard. And he does collect dust. When you take out the dustpan, he has collected a lot of dust. But obviously, you doing with the other vacuum is way better.
It's also sad because you try to make me feel so bad about this vacuum, like by humanizing the vacuum and saying that the vacuum's like trying so hard and
you're so mean to him.
But it's not a...
You disrespect him right in front of your face. He tries so hard to clean our house, and you just mock him and say that he's an idiot and he's not good at his job.
Okay, I didn't call him an idiot. I did say he's not good at his job because that's the truth.
I know, but it's funny because once I started realizing if I refer to him as a person, then you kind of like have like empathy and get mad at me.
Yeah, because it's sad, but...
I know, he just wants to impress you, and what did I tell you? I think I told you he was crying in the morning one time when I woke up to start working because you made fun of him. And you did not like
horrible.
that.
Like, it's so sad.
You like started to feel bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, but anyways, Bob is not doing a great job overall, but...
So are we going to have Bob in a few months, or is he on his way out?
I don't know. I mean, you keep using this, like, odd psychology thing with me that makes me feel bad that...
Well, Bob's also in my office right now, which is a part of the domain of your jurisdiction. So you now are a few roles, but you're the chief home officer, chief interior design officer of our relationship. So the house is all yours, minus the garage and my office. So Bob is currently relegated to my office, but you still don't like that. And I agree. I might need to get rid of him at some point or find a new home for him. But that would be sad. We'll lose Bob. Talk to me about TV. How do you unwind? How do I unwind? And how do we, in a new marriage, figure out how to do that? Because we work a lot.
Yeah. Well, I definitely used to not wind down by watching TV.
What do you do now?
Well, before I would just like work basically, and then I would go home and I would do sauna, maybe a little bit of red light, and then pretty much go to bed. Sometimes, I would read or I would listen to a podcast. That is definitely something that we have in common as we listen to a podcast at night. But now, I'm just in a much more feminine energy. I want to cuddle with you and hold you at the end of the night. So you are in charge of like finding the shows basically. But yeah, we will watch something. Some of them I like more than others.
I'm in charge of finding the TV shows we watch, but you will tell me if you don't like them. Yeah. And what's the best show that we've watched so far? I think I know the answer.
I liked Longmire.
What did you like about Longmire?
He was a good guy.
The sheriff.
The sheriff was a good guy.
The sheriff in Wyoming that the show follows is a good guy.
Yep, he was always trying to do the right thing. Very interested in maintaining the peace within his town.
Yep, order.
Yeah. I just liked it. It was...
Do you think you liked the show because it was like nature and cowboy-y and like a little remote and not crazy busy like Ohio or Cleveland or New York or LA?
Yeah, well, also future life plans is I think we're both on the same page. We would love like a place in the middle of nowhere at some point, big house, biodynamic garden, like chickens, cows, baby cows. So yeah, definitely I think there's aspect that I liked because it was like Montana, remote. I'm interested in learning more about that lifestyle.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so let's talk about what we have at our home right now in terms of like health robots, as I call them. Mm-hmm. So we have a sauna, which is amazing, from Heavenly Heat. We have a cold plunge. We have a PEMF machine where we electrocute ourselves to feel better.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Based off the concept of grounding, so pulsed electromagnetic field therapy is really powerful, but basically it's the concept of grounding. So making contact with the earth, you get all these healing frequencies, negative ions, and actually improves the charge of your body. So it can help improve sleep, athletic performance, recovery, HRV. But this machine is like grounding on steroids. So it's a clinical grade PEMF machine. I feel super blessed that we have it. And it's amazing. So we do that. We now have this new routine of sitting down with each other. We have it on 2 chairs, running 2 devices at the same time. And we get to catch up like over the day, or we do our morning Bible study in the chairs and turn on PEMF. So yeah, I love having PEMF.
Yeah, we have a cold plunge, sauna, PEMF. We had a Balancer Pro for a while. We have a hot tub.
That is not filtered by chemicals. It's filtered with enzymes.
Yes. What else do we have in our home? Red light.
We have several red light panels, which is great for, skin health. Like topically, it's great for reducing inflammation, improving like recovery, joint inflammation. And then the infrared rays can actually penetrate into the mitochondria for energy. So really great. We also have like some medical grade red light lasers. So if you have a little bit of pain, you like to use those, you really feel those. That Kineon, you feel like super, it's a very strong medical grade laser. We have that. We have a Nanovi, which is great for reducing oxidative stress and repairing DNA damage. So we love that. That you just hook up a nasal cannula to it. You can use it at the desk while you're working, etc. We have a lot of like other smaller health robots too. So we actually have an EEG machine. It's called a WAVI. We have several red light therapy devices for the head. So that we have one for hair, boosting hair growth. So
yeah, I need to start doing that.
Yeah, for improving like
because I have
for hair.
What do I have again?
Miniaturization.
Ooh. So we were at the biohacking Dave Asprey's biohacking conference last weekend, and Kayla and I are on the floor a week ago from today or so, and Dr. Bauman was there, one of the best hair doctors out there, if not the best, and he was giving us our analysis. And when it was my turn, Dr. Bauman comes over and looks at my hair, and there's all these people around, and it was kind of just a fun situation of, we're all, looking and seeing what's going on. But this doctor's looking at my head, and then he casually but abruptly says, "You have some miniaturization." And out of nowhere, Kayla, who's listening, goes, "Oh, no, not miniaturization." And I'm like, Kayla. Yeah, so I got to get that taken care of, and we will. But your reaction was so like comical and cartoonish and just hilarious. So now we joke in that I have miniaturization, which means some hair is getting thinner and smaller, and we can use the red light cap. We can do something as big as a transplant if we need to at some point, which a lot of men do and don't always talk about it. But I want to be open about everything we're doing. Yeah. So I have miniaturization. And
sad.
What?
Very sad.
Yes, I need to be more optimized. But I can't be perfect. I'm not perfect.
Luckily you have me, because you could have miniaturization and not even know it. Imagine that.
Yeah. It's okay. I'll just shave like Joe Rogan and be bald.
No, please not.
What? The Rock is bald.
I know, but it's just really not for me. So we're just going to keep all your hair.
It's not for you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Look at your hair. We changed your whole hair. Like,
I know.
Everything is just great. And everyone says marriage looks great on you.
Yeah, because you're paying them to say that.
Paying them.
We're getting more tan. We're getting sun. Well, one of the main benefits of being in LA and not Cleveland or Chicago, where I'm from, is that we can literally get sun in January and lay out. Yeah. And I know taxes are high here, but I would, the sun, it's just perfect here.
Yeah.
Minus taxes and homeless and the cops not being able to do their job and a lot of super woke stuff, but we don't need to get into that. We will eventually on this podcast. So this is I don't know what this is going to be. This is my first podcast. You're my first guest.
Mm-hmm.
And I am interviewing you about our relationship and health and our home. So more questions about our home. Can you explain and justify to me why, when we started dating last May, you had zero furniture in your apartment in Cleveland? You had a couch and you had a bed. You had no table. The couch is a pitiful excuse for a couch. It was not comfortable at all. You had, I think you had one stool maybe by your kitchen where you would eat at sometimes, but you had no rugs, no bookshelf. Your books were in the corner, stacked up.
Yeah.
And you had the bike. You had a Carol bike. You had the EMF thing over the bed, and a sauna. But the majority of your place was just nothing. So what's that about?
Well, as stated previously on this podcast.
You don't have to be all official. As stated previously, why was your apartment like pitiful? I did not expect to be giving you chief home officer. But after I realized how much you care about it, which I did not expect, then I did. And now you've made our house wabi-sabi, which I like.
Everyone loves it.
Okay. Yeah. People aren't going to come to our house and say, oh, I don't like this. Like, they do like it.
Okay, they would just say nothing then, and that's it. But everyone loves it.
Explain what wabi-sabi is to people that don't know.
Wabi-sabi is essentially like it's derived from the Japanese culture. It's very natural. So first of all, when I found this place, I fell in love with it. It was the one home that you didn't look at, because we were looking at homes every weekend in LA.
Yeah.
It was the one time you didn't come with me. I think I came during the week.
Looking at homes with you is hilarious. So in general, you're black and white on everything in life. Yeah. I am gray, dark gray, light gray on everything, which is not great because I can overanalyze, and not great for you because sometimes, it might be not black or white. So that's been interesting. But seeing homes with you is funny. So we're looking at homes, and we probably looked at maybe 8 or 9 homes together to rent before we buy. We have some of our other places with tenants, which is interesting. But now we're renting. And of those 8 or 9 homes, let's talk about your thoughts on them.
We don't really remember all of them. I only remember the one that I liked a lot. Everything else was not super relevant. I remember the one I liked a lot, and I remember the one you liked a lot.
The Studio City one that I liked?
Yeah.
That was 5 bedrooms. And the one you liked that was half a bedroom?
Yeah, but the style was amazing. So
the style was great, but it was like 1,600 square feet or something. 2 bedrooms. It was so small. It was like a James Bond like villa. It was a James Bond villa, 1,600 square feet. It was almost way more expensive than where we're at right now per month. But yeah, are you happy we got this house though?
So happy.
Okay, good.
So happy. No, I mean, it's amazing. The view is great. It's like super in nature.
What's your top 2 favorite things about this house?
Being in so much of nature. I love the way that the sun comes into my office during the day. I love the outdoor showers. I love, and I love the view. The view is great. Yeah. What are your top 2 things?
Number 1 is I love the high ceilings. And number 2, I love the privacy of the backyard in nature. So I can get sun naked. We can go in the cold plunge. It feels not like LA. We have a view of the Hollywood sign. We have all these cool trees around us. The other day at dinner, we were eating steak outside. Downstairs, we have like 5 levels in our backyard. It's super cool. This place is truly a gem. Thanks to you for finding it. But we're eating at this table that we rarely eat at. We're trying to eat at it more to take advantage. And Kayla shrieks because she notices that we have a peach tree that we didn't even know about.
I know. I'm so excited, but you won't let me eat them.
And why is that?
Because you think they're going to get bigger.
Okay.
And I need to wait.
And you looked up on your phone when they get ripe. And when they get ripe is either this month or the following 2 months. So it's possible we can wait 2 months and these peaches can be twice as big.
It technically said it could be in May. May to August, it says.
Okay. And we have 2.5 or 2.9 months of those 4 that are still to come. So if we have how many peaches? We have about 45 peaches on the tree. They're not as big as normal peaches. We know this. So if we wait, we can have these peaches be twice as big. But if we eat them now, 1, they're not as sweet and juicy. And 2, why would we eat them now when we can wait and they can be double the size?
Yeah, but sometimes they fall off and then we'll just lose one totally.
Okay, but if there's 45 and they're going to double in size, we're going to go from 100% increase. But if each one that falls is 2% of the overall, then that's a trade-off we need to figure out.
Yeah, I need to check on them.
You know what I'm curious about is we have these conversations and I have these things in my brain, but like I know that when we have kids, I'm just going to have way less room to analyze peaches or to analyze other stuff. So that's why I want to have all of our roles. You are obviously the chief health officer.
Mm-hmm.
You are the chief home and interior design officer. And I think it's nice to have like clear guidelines, because now it's not a matter of, oh, are we going to get this chair for the dining room, whatever. In my mind, it's like, I've given that over to you. I don't have to think about it, which is a blessing for me. But I do appreciate it when you ask me and say, this is my favorite. When you come to me and say, hey, here's these 3 things. What one is your favorite? Because one, I can do that really well. I love like having an opinion when something's like right in front of me. And then 2, it shows me that you respect me and that you are the chief home officer, but you're still letting me like have an opinion. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's very nice of you. Doesn't happen every time. Sometimes you just buy something. What?
I feel like rarely.
Yeah, actually, you're right. It is kind of rare, especially if it's a bigger purchase.
I feel like everything that we have right now, I talked to you in some way about.
Yeah, no, you have done a good job about that, which is good.
Yeah.
But sometimes I disagree, and then you still buy it. And the chairs I'm glad about, because you did get a great deal on them. They're amazing, like trendy chairs. You got 2 of them, and the PMF is on it right now, and it works really well because we can have our Bible studies in the morning. We can get charged up, and that's a huge bonus.
Yeah, but to be clear, I didn't like go against like you saying don't get them or something, and then I got them.
That's true. You just asked me if I like them, and I said no, but you can get them if you want, and you got them.
Yes.
And that's great.
Yeah, now we really love them. They're super easy to move. People enjoy them. They're comfortable.
They're not like a Lazy Boy, which is the comfiest chair to sit in the world, but for a designer, cool, wabi-sabi approved chair, they're probably the best out there.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, on the topic of our home, what are something else that people might be interested in learning about?
We have 2 outdoor showers, which I love. You take advantage of that a little bit more than I do.
I have probably used our outdoor showers 90 of the 100 days that we've been at this house.
I love that.
There's nothing like taking a shower in the morning after a cold plunge, outdoors with the sun shining on you. It is just the most wonderful feeling. And I never had that in West Hollywood or Sherman Oaks or Culver City or Santa Monica or Hancock Park or any of the places I lived in LA.
I know. It's so nice. It honestly feels magical. I don't use it as often as you do just because, by nature, women have some more products. So I have to like bring my products that I have in the bathroom out there. You just use one one kind of cleanser.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more work for me, but it feels so magical because like you're also surrounded by plants and nature and the sun is just shining. It's really, really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So you had never lived in LA, but you moved here officially a few months ago. How would you describe LA? Have you learned where everything is? You know now it's like Wilshire, not Wilshire, like La Cienega, like all the names of everything. Mm-hmm. What's your general thoughts for someone who doesn't live in LA? What were your first expectations?
Well, I mean, I obviously have traveled.
You've been here,
before, yeah. And then the other thing is too is like I'm really a homebody, so I'm so grateful and blessed that we have this home.
You weren't like a club girl?
No, and people just can.
You were a bar girl?
Neither. No.
What kind of girl were you?
A working, focused, career girl.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't go out a lot.
No.
How many drinks of alcohol have you had in the last 10 years?
I don't know. Like I could count them on 2 hands, probably.
So 10 or less.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Some
not...
people have that every weekend.
Yeah, but I've never had time. I also don't want to feel bad, and I've worked in the health industry for over a decade, and not like just any health industry, like longevity, optimal health. And I mean, I've also had an Oura ring for almost 6 years. And when I got an Oura ring for the first time, if you have even 2 drinks or 1 drink and you look at your HRV the next day, it's like half. It's like horrible. So that was a huge wake up call. Yeah, so it's not really like a big part of my life. And I was just so committed to, success that it was just a hindrance. So not really a big, but yeah, I mean, I love LA. I love the sun. I think that there's a lot of people in the health industry here, which I love. And so many people come here, which is great. So we have a podcast studio at our home, which is amazing. And so I really just don't have to leave much.
Yeah, this is in our backyard. This is a separate standalone room that we just turned into a podcast room.
Yeah.
That's true. So you are the healthiest person I've ever met in my life. There are so many ways in which I'm obviously healthier just by osmosis and you taking good care of us and watching out for me. Is there any way or any aspect that I've made you healthier?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Just tell me, I need some encouragement. So just tell me.
Honey. I mean, first of all, I think getting married to you is one of the best things I've ever done for my health. Because
of cuddles?
Because of cuddles, basically, yeah. No, because you make me feel so safe and, I can relax. I mean, so much of my life was living in the sympathetic. Of course, I would do meditation and breath work and all these different practices to
explain the sympathetic to people.
Yeah, so our sympathetic nervous system our nervous system can either be in sympathetic, which is like the fight, flight, stressed. Back in the day, everyone uses this analogy, but if a lion was chasing you, you need to activate your sympathetic nervous system. Your blood pressure is higher, it's more stress in the body. But now we're living in sympathetic state all the time. And when you don't have someone that you can really love and trust and cuddle with and have that, exchange, you are going to be living in sympathetic much more often. And then so parasympathetic is the relaxed rest state of being. And you've brought that to me in so many ways, just from feeling secure and safe and loved. And also just the covenant of marriage just being so secure has been incredibly helpful for me. And you have a great work-life balance. You've taught me that a lot as well. And just being more, I admire how productive you are within the time that you're working, whereas my whole life used to just be work. So like, you can probably attest, like so many things have changed in my work relationship.
Yeah.
Since I met you, because it was like calls all the time. It was always like, it wasn't condensed. And now I feel so much more efficient.
Yeah, you've gotten a lot better, yeah.
And then, when we're done working, we're spending time together and being really present, which...
I feel like when you say that I have a really good work-life balance, that it means that I don't work a lot.
No, you definitely work a lot. You're so efficient.
Yeah.
First of all, you go to work so early. And...
Yeah, I love our new schedule. Our new schedule is amazing. So we go to bed at 9:30, like you said, maybe earlier. So we go to bed at 9 or 9:30. I get up around, let's say 4:30 or 5. So I'm still trying to get at least 7 hours, which I don't always do. But I get up at, let's say 4:30. The Equinox downtown LA, it opens at 5. So I get there at 5. I'm in work at my desk by at least 7. I'll work out and stretch. And there's so much you can do, especially at an Equinox. So there's stretching, working out. Then there's all the cardio stuff. Then there's the steam room. And then I shower and shave there also. So in office by 7 and then working, very hard, not doing any distractions, so I can get home and enjoy some sun with you, a walk, our dinner. I love the schedule we did a few days ago. I got home, I think we ate right away, then we went on a walk, then we did sauna, then we did one episode and got to relax and cuddle, and then we got to go to bed at like 9, 10.
Well, we did PEMF that night too.
Oh yeah, we did. So we really did a lot that night. Yeah. Okay.
No, that's great.
So we started dating when you were really carnivore, which I loved because I've been strict carnivore for over a year. I'm not now, but I did do carnivore for a year. And carnivore is when you only eat something that comes from an animal. So 0 fruit and vegetables, basically 0 carb. It's beyond 0 carb. You can eat not just like steak and bacon and beef, but you can also have like milk or kefir. anything that comes from an animal. So when we started dating, you were very clean, eating the same thing every day. It was steak and then some fruit and vegetables, maybe. Everything organic, non-GMO. But it was the same thing every day. Like if it was a SKU at a store, it would be the same size and color every single day. So for me, I'm the opposite. I want to eat healthy, but I'm the opposite and I want variety. So, being married to you or dating you was a lot, because not only do I need to be healthier, but it was also eating the same thing. And in the last few months, there's been so much more variety, which thank you so much for that. You're getting different kinds of fruits. We're getting, you decided that we should not be eating steak every single night because you looked at some of our tests. So we went from eating steak 7 nights a week, which was amazing because these are Wagyu grass-fed ribeyes, grass-fed, grass-finished from Erewhon. You really nailed how to do it on a cast iron, and you put on rosemary and butter and salt, and we have some fermented garlic. And should I miss anything on the steak? I think that was it.
Raw butter, but yeah.
Yeah, raw butter. But I mean, it is so good. But we went from eating that for 7 nights a week to then doing salmon for 4 or 5 nights a week and steak for 2 nights, which I loved for the first few weeks because it was some variety. But then we both got sick of salmon.
Yeah.
So now we incorporated scallops, steak, and salmon. Not salmon as much because we're kind of over it. But the variety has really been good for the past few months. But the first 3 or 4 months of our marriage, it was literally the same thing every time. And it got me healthier, but I think we're wired differently. I would rather have, from 20 different meals, I would rather have a random one from a list of 20, as opposed to you would probably just do the steak every night.
Yeah, well, I also think through, I don't like having random different foods together in my stomach.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, you will eat things that to me don't make any sense.
Like, what's an example?
Let me think. I mean, you'll just eat all sorts of random stuff. Like you'll have a drink with 5 different ingredients in it, and including milk, maybe.
Yeah, I invented a drink, milk, organic, raw milk, unpasteurized, with some drops of vanilla, some stevia, and some coconut water with pulp. And you mix it all up, and it tastes like a tropical paradise.
Okay, so you would put that with a steak, with having yogurt with it, or just a variety of different things that to me don't really make sense. I need mine to be really cohesive and just make sense together. Whereas some nights I think you just want to opt for it's mosh posh dinner. What do you love most about me today?
That is not on the list of questions. This is your new... can you explain the joke to people listening?
Well, it's not really a joke, though.
Oh, here we go. No, the last 5 days, Kayla's thought this was funny, and when she's in a funny mood, she'll on a walk, she'll be like, when there's a pause, so what's your favorite thing about me today?
I just think it's so cute.
Okay, yeah, but you can't ask that question right now.
And it's words of encouragement.
It is, but your love language is not words of encouragement as much. Your love language is quality time and physical touch, which we didn't realize until we got married, which is a whole other section we can talk about later. But my love language is words and acts of service. Your love language is quality time and physical touch. So what do you think about that?
What do you mean? What do I think about it?
Yeah, as a topic, what do you think about it? Because it's an opportunity for us to meet each other in different places, because I do not need quality time and physical touch to feel loved as much as you would want that, and you do not need words or acts of service as much as I do. So how do we kind of meet each other?
Well, I think it's just important to know what your spouse is best for them, and then I every night try to tell you that I'm grateful for you and that I respect you and I love you, and so that's something that's on my mind, because I know that words of encouragement is important to you, and you do a great job of cuddling me, and just I love being near you. So
the thing I love about you most today is that let me think. I'm trying to think of something differently today than yesterday. I'm going to say, the thing I love most about you today is when you woke up and came to give me a hug and a kiss good morning. And then we had Bible study for longer today because it's a weekend. And then when I told you I wanted to do a podcast, you were excited. And I know we've been talking about this for a while, but I really appreciate that you made the time, because I know content can sometimes feel not like a weekend or not like relaxing. But I was like, don't worry, I'm going to interview you. This is not you interviewing me. You don't need to do any research on me. I got it covered. I could ask you questions all day. And hopefully people find this interesting, because I know a lot of my friends don't know the whole story. So I think it's helpful we went through it a little bit and talked through how intentional we were, how much we were really praying for each other over the course of the years. And our families were praying for that, and friends were praying for that. Because in LA, it was very hard to be a Christian in LA. I'm, fairly vocal when I'm post content randomly, or when I'm in my, workplace or whatnot. And I was just not finding my wife. And then I found her in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
You. So, yeah. So that's what I love most about you today.
Aww. I love you, honey.
Look at that ring.
I know. You did such a good job.
You're so cute.
I love you. You said something the other day that was interesting. You said that you felt like you were an expert at being a husband.
Okay. It was not out of the blue like that, but yeah. Do you want me to explain it?
Yeah.
So I'm not an expert on being a husband, having lived or having been a husband for a long time. But what I meant was I've been reading so many books and praying about it and talking to other mentors of mine that have marriages that I want to emulate, that I meant that I've been so intentional that I feel like cerebrally and in my brain, I know what a godly husband looks like and should be. Obviously, I haven't even been married a year, but the purpose of marriage and the way to be a husband and what that looks like and how it's in God's plan for us, to basically love you like, Christ loves the church. And I think that I knew on a brain level of what it means to be a husband, because especially when you look at normal, people, the average person, they're not really doing that. They might not know it, and they're certainly not always acting on it. So I don't say that to say, oh, I know everything about this at all. There's a ton I don't know, and it's much different to do it than just to know it. But I mean, I feel like you're an expert on being a wife. You're an amazing wife. You embraced, the roles that we both wanted and decided on, and you take great care of me, and you let me lead, and you respect me, which matters more. I know you don't like hearing it, but it matters more to me than loving me. I would rather have you respect me and not like really love me than you love me but not respect me.
Well, good thing I do both.
Yeah, good thing. But I say that because I want to hammer home how much I love feeling respected.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's something that, being a great wife is just on my mind all the time. And
I know. How are you such a great wife? How do you do it? What's the secret?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think first of all, wanting to be a great wife, the desire. Right?
Are there women who don't want that?
I'm sure. I mean, I don't really talk to a lot of women that don't want to be a great wife, but it was something that I was so excited for and just meant so much that it came really naturally. And also I think there could be a lot of conflict if you don't have agreed upon roles, or we live in a society now where, everything should be equal, or women and men are equal and the whole 9 yards. And it's like, you wanted to lead. I wanted to let you lead. I wanted to submit to you. I know that word is like, can be pretty intense for people, but
why is that?
Well, I think just with the feminist movement, I suppose, women don't want to say that they're submitting, but first of all, we also submit to each other, right, in different ways. So I submit to you by following you and respecting the choices that you make for our family. But that's because I'm doing that because you're competent enough to do that, and because I love you and I know that your heart is in the right place, which unfortunately for marriages too might not always be the case. So I'm very blessed and so grateful for you.
Well, you're submitting to me knowing that I'm submitting to the Lord.
Right.
Right. So it's much easier, I feel like, for you to submit to someone, if you know where they're held accountable.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Without a doubt. I mean, that's such a big part of why I admire you and why I love you and why I trust you just completely to lead us. But I mean, I wanted to be, I don't know, the new term is trad wife, right? Like, although.
Are you a trad wife?
I mean, basically, I happen to own and run a company, but also.
I can't wait for you to do trad wife content.
I know, right? But I mean, I do all that. I make you dinner every single night. I clean up. I make sure that the home is clean. I do all the things. I'll be obviously doing most of the child rearing, and I can't wait for that. I'm so excited. That's the role I want. I naturally want that role. I want to do well in it. I've also read books and reading books.
Dr. Laura.
Seek counsel. Yeah, I love Dr. Laura. She's also like very straight to the point.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of common sense. I mean, women just complain so much, and then they treat their husbands poorly, and they wonder why they are being treated poorly. It's like, okay, well, you both have to treat each other well. And it's also a lot of fun too. I've always just wanted to get better every day of my life, like improving in some way. And it's really fun for me to be able to now be improving in this area of marriage, because you're working different muscles, right, than you may have been working before.
I love that. Well, thank you for being my first guest on my podcast. No idea how many episodes or how often I'm going to do this. We just have the studio and I want to interview people, and you're my number one. And if you're listening to this, feel free to let us know what we should talk about next time, which who knows how long that's going to be. But comment on social media. It is at Warren Lentz for me. For my wife, it's at Kayla Barnes, because the at Kayla Lentz will not answer my DMs. So if you're listening, please do us a solid. I'll pay you. I love you, babe. And let's go eat some dinner.
I love
Time for you to be a trad wife.
I know. My
Thank you,
natural role.